Good evening. It is February 22nd, a Thursday, third Thursday of February, and we're here in the Governor's Room of the Community Center for our board meeting, school board meeting. So, first item of business, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have our agenda here before us. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Just as a reminder, if anyone has a request to speak on any of the items of the agenda, we have pieces of paper that you can fill out just to indicate that you would like to speak. And Sarah's here, and we'll pick those up and give you an opportunity. All right. So we have our consent agenda items. Only up to O this time, so that's all right.
I just want to note that we do see a retirement on there for Principal Alke. As much as I would like to say we're not going to accept that retirement, I think we tried that already and it didn't work. So I'm sure we will recognize her later, but.
I'm told indeed we did try that.
We
Yeah.
also, I see the acceptance of the resignation of Sarah, so I'm kind of sad to see that as well, but I guess that's what happens.
Yeah. Very good.
On which sad note, I will move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Very good. Any discussion about any of the items in particular? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you. Motion passes and the consent agenda is approved. All right, our favorite part of the evening, the student spotlight. Please join us at the table.
Good evening. I have, again, definitely favorite part of every board meeting right here is focusing on our students and all the buildings, but especially at North, right, Liv? Where I have the honor of introducing all of you to Liv Barr. Liv is our student spotlight of the month for North Elementary School. She's a fourth grader in Mrs. Nixon's class. And I've told you before, I usually, send out an invite to all the teachers, asking teachers to nominate their students. I didn't do that this time. I actually just went out on my own and I picked Liv. And there's multiple reasons why. The one that's most recent happened a couple weeks ago. Liv stopped me in the hallway and she goes, "Mr. Doherty, can I talk to you? I got to talk to you about something." I'm like, "Yeah, let's talk." So Liv goes, at recess, sometimes the availability of just materials for kids to enjoy at recess or in their free time is kind of slim, or maybe they're broken things, or you were talking about the block makers with snow on the playground, but that was a whole other issue this year because we just didn't have any snow. There was no snow this year. And she's like, "Gosh, it would be really nice just to have a variety of things." And we got into talking about like how we purchase those things and how we replace them when they get broken. And even we were talking about the supply cart with all the gear that gets wheeled out for the kids to use and then pick up when they're done. She's like, "Gosh, I bet you, just in the community, we have a great community here. I wonder if there's a way that we can just get some advertising out, ask for donations, and even gear that kids have at home that they don't use so much anymore that we could have, for a drop box." And her dad gave me a call. We chatted on the phone, and that's the type of person Liv is. Like she's so understanding. She's caring. She's just she doesn't leave anybody out. Like that's the type of person she is. And I'm like, you know what, teachers, I'm not even asking you this time. We're going to Liv Barber. And I love to meet with them, and we like to have some fun with you and throw some questions together so you can get to know the students better. And as we went through this, I threw some questions her way, and she worked on the answers, and we met earlier this week. And that just reaffirmed like some of these answers that she gave. I'm like, yep, that's exactly why I picked you, Liv, for Student Spotlight, because everybody needs to know about you. Ever since, I mean, the students only spend 3 years at North, right? I wish we could add another 3 years for kids like Liv, because she's just a role model in the building. I mean, that's what she does. And she's got the biggest heart. So here, if you're ready for the questions, you ready, Liv?
Yes.
All right. So she just put little indicators here, and she's going to speak from that big heart that she has. So the first one is a fun one. I said, Liv, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? And would you use it to help others?
So I picked super intelligence because I think that it would be a good thing to help out the community, because a big thing would be kind of just like being able to make the cure for cancer, because I think that's just a big problem and I would like to help solve that. So I'd probably pick super intelligence so I can, and it's not just that, there's lots of other things you could do with it to help the community.
Love it. I totally agree. All right, number 2, what's your favorite book or series and why would you recommend it to your classmates?
I'd probably pick Diary of a Wimpy Kid or the 2024 Guinness Book of World Records.
Good job.
And Diary of a Wimpy Kid, probably not to my classmates because it's just based on one subject, and I think my classmates, it's not the thing my classmates would like, but what I like about the Guinness Book of World Records is that there's a lot of different subjects, there's a lot of fun facts, so I think there's got to be at least one thing in there that my classmates would find interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And we made a connection right there too, because like Liv, that book's been around for a long time, and I used to wait at the library until the new one came out. So, imagine you could travel anywhere in the world. Where would you go, and what would you do there?
I would go to Washington, D.C. because I would like to stand on the top of the Lincoln Memorial where Dr. King gave his I Have a Dream speech. I'd like to go there and share to some people about how important your impact is on the environment and nature, because I've always loved nature, and so I would like everybody to know how big their actions have on the environment.
Yeah, very good. Now you get my point about caring. Like, she is a caring person. What's the best thing about being a student at North Elementary? What makes it so special?
I just really love the people there and how kindness is so encouraged, and just friends and teachers are all very kind, nice, caring. So I'd probably say the people there.
Yeah. All right, so you get to invent a new school lunch menu item. What would it be, and why would everyone love it?
I think fruit salad, because I love fruit. I know a lot of my classmates like some fruit, and we need to have like one fruit or veggie. So I think that would be a good way to get it, just because it tastes good, and I think it's just something that a lot of students would like.
And we did confirm it was in like the sugary sauce, right?
Yes.
All right, let's see. If you could teach the grown-ups one thing, what would it be?
I would teach that sometimes it's okay to be able to share your emotions, and that you don't need to keep all your thoughts cooped up. Because a lot of times I think that adults think like they don't understand sometimes that when you're an adult, it's okay to have sad and happy emotions, and that because you're still human, it's okay to be able to express yourself.
Very good. Wise words. What are you most proud of accomplishing at North Elementary?
I'd probably say this because this isn't a common thing, I guess.
Yeah, well, when I told her, really, 2 North students a year get this recognition. Your jaw hit the floor. She's like, what? You're picking me? I said, absolutely I am. You earned that. What do you dream of being when you grow up? Why?
Probably either a paleontologist or a history teacher, because
You got a fan up there.
I love dinosaurs, and being a paleontologist would be very cool, so I could learn more about them and I'd be able to dig up dinosaur fossils. And for a history teacher, well, I like the thought of being a teacher and helping kids, and I also have just been fascinated in history, learning about that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And then the last one. So is there anything you'd like to tell the school board about how they can make school even better?
Well, what I think is just, I think sometimes teachers aren't appreciated for all that they do, because there are sometimes some students out there who can act up and it can get stressful for a teacher. So I think it's just good to be able to recognize all that teachers do for the kids and the students who go there.
I'll speak for the teachers. They appreciate that, Liv. Appreciate it a lot. And you brought a family member with you tonight.
Yes. This is my dad, Dale.
All right. Yeah. So any questions for Liv, student spotlight of the month?
Oh, not questions, just thorough pleasure. I agree with you on the Guinness Book of Records, and we'll talk about history anytime you want.
She's a history buff.
Quick question, Liv. I just want to know, are you into any sports at all? I know your dad's kind of like a little bit into sports and stuff, so I'm curious. And I'm curious if you wear shorts all year long as well, like your dad.
I'm not that crazy.
Okay.
But I do play a lot of sports. I play basketball. I play soccer. I'm trying to get into the lacrosse. I just don't want it to cross with soccer. Hockey maybe. Had to restrict from that a little bit with basketball.
Yeah, it's good to try a lot. So I like that you gave a lot of answers because you want to try a lot. So
Yes.
that's awesome.
And
I also do track and field. Yes, yes.
Awesome. Yes, it is.
And I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say thank you. I think you are super intelligent already.
Yeah.
And we are so lucky to have you. And Mr. Doherty made a fantastic pick. So thank you for thinking of our community, our planet, your fellow students. I think you're already making the world an amazing place. So
Thank you.
And in just 15 short years, we would be very happy to hire you as a teacher right here in St.
History teacher.
That's a job offer.
Yeah.
You bookmark.
Yeah. Can I
bring
get
it.
that in writing?
I'm looking forward, to the next 25, 30 years, because you're going to do great things. And as we talked earlier, we're neighbors, and neighbor to Mrs. Alke as well. And then I could say, I was a neighbor to a very famous young lady. So I'm looking forward to that, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Liv.
Yeah. All right.
Yes,
thank
thank
you.
you. Lovely meeting you.
Wow.
Thank you, guys.
Let's go back for the agenda item after that.
I know.
Yeah. It's kinda-
Often we do have a student council report, but our students are away this evening. A lot of sporting, a lot of activities, lots of things
Big
going on.
game.
Yep,
Big
big game
game.
tonight, so we get it. Looking forward to seeing them next month. All right, off to our new action items. First up is considering the acceptance of donations and grants to the district. And what we have here, I should have had it queued up. Two different donations. The first being from the classes of 2006 through 2009. Class of 2006 is donating to our activities department $1,300, and the class of 2007 is donating $262, and the class of 2008 is donating $1,300, and the class of 2009 is donating $2,300. And they're all donating it to our activity department, and we very much appreciate that. I know the activities also appreciate that. A lot of costs, and we try to keep our costs down with lower than average activity fees, and things like this definitely assist us. So thank you. And the second donation tonight is from the Good Neighbor Diversity Council, who's donating $2,000 for the Black Joy Day celebration that's happening at the high school tomorrow. And we're all invited. It would be great to see there. I've heard there's going to be some great student breakouts. Invite us for lunch. I'm sure there'll be some presentations in the morning. So we're looking forward to that. But thank you. They've donated the $2,000 to help make that event happen tomorrow. So very thankful for that. Thank you.
I do want to mention that there will be some other donations also for Black Joy Day, but they didn't make the cutoff for this agenda, so they'll be we'll be thanking them next month.
Very good. Looking forward to recognizing them. Our next action item.
You gotta
Well,
take an
I
action.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I move that we accept these donations.
All right, we have a motion.
I will second that with gratitude.
Yeah, very good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor
Aye.
Aye.
and opposed? Very good. Motion is passed. Thank you. Second item this evening, consider the approval of the pay equity report.
All right, so we have to submit our pay equity report once every 3 years. It's a requirement for the MMB. We used a management company to facilitate that submission for us. So Biong, our finance accountant, pulled all of the information together and submitted it to her, and then they run 3 statistical tests to make sure that we are paying our staff equitably. They mostly focus on, I shouldn't say that, they solely focus on gender. So they run the statistical analysis between male and females on their rate of pay, on how many steps it takes to get to the top level of pay, and then on longevity. So as you can see in your board packet, we had to meet 80% in order to pass all 3 tests, and we were well above that score in each of the 3 statistical analyses. So we are required to have the board accept our results, mostly because if we weren't to meet one of the tests, then you have to accept our action plan. But because we passed all 3, it's pretty simple. So we are just asking that you accept the results as they are presented.
Yeah, we score over 100% in all 3 categories, which I don't exactly know what numbers are being put together to get there, but in general, I think that's a good thing. So that's great.
How do you score 100%? Great, obviously. I mean, woo-hoo, first.
I honestly, I'm not sure too.
The required score is 80, and we're scoring 100.52, so
We're equitable in our pay.
we're equitable.
Very good.
I think it has to do with having twice as many women as men,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
where they are on the pay scale, and how much education they have, and so it's women make more than men in the district, generally speaking.
Okay. Very good.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I will move the approval of the pay equity report.
Very
I'll
good. We have a
second.
motion and we have a second. Thank you. Do we have any further discussion or questions on this item? All right. Seeing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Very good. Motion is passed. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Our next action and final action item this evening. Consider the policies with legislative requirements for approval with a single reading.
We are still working on those legislative changes that took place last spring. We have policy 424, license status. There were some changes with tier 1 and tier 2 licensure that we needed to make note of in our policy. 425, staff development and mentoring. There were some additional requirements for staff development regarding paraprofessionals. We already provide above those levels, but we did have to make that note in the policy. 509, enrollment of non-resident students. There was just some language changes there. There aren't any real changes in procedures or the process of doing that, but noted the legislative change. 513, student promotion, retention, and program design. There were changes requiring an early entrance to kindergarten process, and so we changed that language. We have also worked with our retiring principal and kindergarten staff to develop a process and procedure for early entrance to kindergarten. That's not part of the policy, but because the policy says we need to have that procedure in place, we have now developed a procedure that is in place. Policy 514, bullying prohibition policy. There were some slight changes, adding the words malicious and sadistic behavior to the definition of bullying. And then policy 524, internet acceptable use and safety policy. There were some changes made that require us to notify parents of all of the apps and software that the district uses. And so we are working with a company who provides that service. And that is a very high-level summary of the changes in those policies.
And I have heard nothing regarding any of the changes that were posted, and they are all statutory.
Yeah.
So I will move to accept these policy changes in one reading.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Very good. We have a second. Do we have any discussion, questions?
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chair. if I
Please.
may. Was interested to see, and I'm certainly in favor of that, under the student promotion, retention, and program design, it also alluded to acceleration for gifted and talented students, which is certainly a nice option.
Agreed. Any further questions? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Very good. Motion is passed and approved. All right, thank you. Off to our informational items. First being the mileage and meal reimbursement rates.
Yes, worked with Megan Gresha, business manager, on updating these. We do have a policy that the superintendent would provide an update on this annually. We do follow the federal rate for both mileage and meal reimbursement is based on the state. So the federal rate is going from 65.5 cents to 67 cents per mile. That's the new federal rate. And then meal reimbursement, breakfast and dinner both went up $1, but lunch stayed the same. I guess lunch prices don't change. Within the state of Minnesota, they have begun to recognize that there are certain areas of the state that generally cost more if you are going to have meals there. So Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, and Duluth each have their own rates based on the average cost of meals in those cities. Right? I don't know.
Okay.
Rochester's falling behind there.
Yeah.
And then out-of-state travel rates will be 18, 20, and 36 for a total of, what is that? $54, $64. Yes.
So if you're not in one of these cities or anywhere else in the state, our rates apply?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
And
Very good, love it.
yeah,
Good luck,
like-
Megan.
and certainly there are differences. You may know I just came back from the national conference where I was in San Diego and paid $36 for a chicken sandwich for lunch.
Oh my,
Wow.
love traveling.
15 right there.
Yep.
The cheeseburger was $22, so
Should ask for a half. Half these.
I'll just have chips.
just the pickle. So anyway, that is the recommendation for that
Okay.
change.
Very good. So then, for us, when would these go into effect?
They are.
They
into
are
effect.
currently.
This
All
is
right.
coming to you as informational, so we have put that in place.
All right. Very good.
So, yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Yeah, any questions? All right, very good. Our next informational item this evening, READ Act update.
Yes. As you know from our previous discussions and study sessions, we are moving right along with the READ Act. I did want to note that we are awaiting stage 3. Stage 1 was just identifying who they should contact. Stage 2 was identifying which company we wanted to do our training and how many people would be in phase 1. For us, that is 146 staff members in phase 1. We are now awaiting stage 3 is when the company contacts us to get the names of all of the participants. I do know that there was a slight change made by MDE when it came to support staff or paraprofessionals. It sounds like, we haven't received official word, but it sounds like paraprofessionals would be required to go through a different training that doesn't require quite as many hours as our instructional staff. So we're awaiting some differences there. What we do know is that the materials and the training are paid for from the state directly to the company that we are working with. If we need materials, those would be supplied by the state as well. What is not covered is any time for staff training. So I mentioned we have 146 staff who will be undergoing approximately 40 hours of training. If we go on our staff development or professional development rate, my estimate of the cost per phase 1 to the district would be $160,000. We are making this, when I say we, I mean superintendents across the state are making this a priority in this legislative session, knowing that there are many, many districts who are in financial hardship, and this training is just not something that they can afford to pay for. It is going to be a stretch for us as well, and so we will be strongly advocating for additional funding for the READ Act to cover these uncovered expenses. So
Yeah,
that's kind of my READ Act update.
that's good.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting details if someone's following along. And so school districts in Minnesota are not unfamiliar with this kind of thing happening. A mandate will come
Yep.
out of good intentions, and it's a great program. And you must do it, but it is not fully funded. And so, and we're happy we must.
Yes.
We must do it, and we will. But it would be great if some more consideration would be had at
Right.
similar state levels to consider those other costs that are always there.
I will add a clarifying note that districts have, for about the last 20 years, received something called literacy aid, and that is for work on literacy. So our literacy funds go to fund our interventionists that work with students. And so what we heard was, oh, you can use your literacy aid for that.
Oh,
like, well,
we're using that.
We could, but that would mean we'd need to not have people working on literacy.
Right.
So that, anyway,
Yeah.
just another fun fact.
Yeah. It's a good update. Thank you. Final informational item this evening. The commissioner's review and comment.
Yes, this is a formality. This really is a report that goes to MDE and is approved by MDE and the Commissioner of Education, Willie Jett. And it just lays out exactly what our project is and what that funding would be used for. And they have put their seal of approval that this would be an appropriate use of funds and an appropriate project to use bonding financing for. And so you just need to be aware of it and give it an opportunity to ask any questions about it. So this is that opportunity.
Any questions from the board?
Just a comment, I read that in some detail, and it's interesting what the requirements are referring to various statutes, et cetera, and rightfully so. But then the positive review comes back 2 sentences long. And
Yeah.
Good news, it worked. Well done, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's very nice, yes.
So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
We're on the path. All right, very good. Thank you. To reports. Our lovely
I don't know about
building
you, but
principals.
this is
Flying
just,
through.
if this goes another hour, guess who we're
Are
gonna?
you,
We know who's been holding
I don't know
us
if you ever
down.
pick up on a theme when
No.
someone's
Yes.
driving the.
Right? Like the
upper
way you
level
operate.
tea.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so all of our counterparts are out busy doing school things tonight.
But not us. We are dedicated to
We're
being at
here.
the school board.
Thank you.
The A squad right here. So just a note, a week ago tonight was our open house registration night at preschool. We had a nice turnout. We've had over 70 registrations so far within a week, which at this point in the year, that's very high for us. So we're very pleased with that. We are seeing our morning classes fill up very quickly, so if folks are looking for mornings, we'd really encourage you to use that online registration and get registered as soon as possible. So we're really excited about that. We are preparing for spring conferences at preschool. I know North, South, and the middle school have held theirs. Ours will be in the first part of March, so we're looking forward to that. That's when we have those conversations about what it's going to look like going to kindergarten and all of those types of things. So that's an exciting time in preschool. And then this time of the year, field trips begin. We've had lots of field trips to actually this building, the play place here, which is a nice, convenient, right down the hill experience for our students. We'll also be traveling to the Children's Museum in Mankato for that experience, which is wonderful. And then, of course, as the weather dries up, we'll be at parks and so on. So looking forward to all those fun spring activities in preschool.
All right, and on to South, we had conferences last week, so we had an evening conference and an all-day conference on Thursday. Last Friday, we also had a professional development day, so we were fortunate enough to have one of our partners, counseling services, does our mental health services within our buildings. So they came and they did a presentation on neurodiversity, and hearing from lots of different levels of people, that there were some great takeaways in that presentation. So I think some people went going, what is this? And I think they did a great job of really explaining what it is and what we need to be cautious of. And as we think about it, there's so many parallels to race and how we teach and teach our students really to be more aware of others, and this is just another way to do that. So that was a wonderful day as well. And then we followed up came back from our break and had conferences on Tuesday night. So we're all a little bit mixed up. It was kind of out of the norm of the way that we typically do that. But it's always great to share students' progress and see the the friendly faces, smiling faces. The students, lots of times in the classrooms, are leading these conferences. So again, they're so excited to have their parents come in. I'd like to thank Karen Snee and Tara Johnson. They did a great job of organizing the book fair. And again, our goal is to get books into the hands of our students. And through the fundraising that goes on with the book fair, we're able to really, each teacher was given $40 to purchase classroom supplies or books for their classroom. And there were also many vouchers given out for students that couldn't afford to purchase books, so they were still able to get books. And there's e-wallets, so no one knows who gets what. So it's just really, really well run. I'm also excited to say that we'll be starting our targeted services program, and Eve is the coordinator of our targeted services, but then it kind of transfers to the sites for some of the management. And we have the largest crowd coming that we've ever had. So we have 78 kindergartners and first graders that will be attending in March and April on Mondays and Thursdays for an extra hour. And kudos to the teachers who have signed up and agreed to extend their day by an extra hour. It's one of those pieces where they do a little bit of an assessment and then they check again at the end, and they really do target the skills that the students need to work on, along with some of those social emotional pieces that are also so important.
And I'll just chime in here.
Mhm.
Just a reminder that is a self-supporting program. So with targeted services, we send that documentation into the state, and we receive that money back for seat time, which keeps that program cost neutral.
One of the other pieces I'm really excited this year is we're able to really offer like a newcomers ELL group with that. Our Steph Noble is willing to teach that. So I think that will be, again, another great experience for some of those students. We are really excited about next Thursday because our open house, our Wild About Kindergarten open house, will be taking place on Thursday, the 29th, from 5:30 to 7 at South. And we just have tons of staff members all around the building, and it's a self-guided tour where there's a little punch card explanations of what's there, but then we have staff members at each one of the stops. And it's a great place to come, get your questions answered about kindergarten, get a chance to try out things they have a little snack in the lunchroom if they choose. They get to explore all of our creation station areas down in the basement. They get to go to the gym, and there's an obstacle course. And Saints Bus Company comes, and they also get to have a quick little bus ride. So it's just a fun night. It goes by very quickly. And again, if we could bottle up the enthusiasm that's there that night, we would be able to power the city for many, many days. So it's always a great night. And a reminder that our online registration is currently open, and we are accepting registrations for next year.
Very good. Well, greetings from North Elementary, everybody. Doreen mentioned the Professional Learning Day last Friday, and I just want to extend that a little bit. The morning was phenomenal, just with the awareness piece, with the neurodiversity, with that talk, and we had a lot of conversation at the North level. And then in the afternoon, it was a busy place, and you kind of have to, at the beginning of the day, I like to set the tone for that day because it's about the teachers learning that day. It's a professional learning day, and teachers always don't get to do that, right? And they're always, generally speaking, teachers like to multitask. You know, they want to get those emails off or correct this paper or do this, and I tell them, no, we're not doing that. It's about your learning today. It's really about your learning, and I think sometimes they just need that permission to okay, it's about me, and I'm not supervising kids, and I'm not doing these, it's about my learning. And so the afternoon, it was a busy place. We actually had multiple buildings represented and some other districts that joined us. We had, for visual and performing arts, we had a representative from the Perpich Center of the Arts come down and work with our visual and performing arts teachers. And then Sibley East also sent 5 members from their school district over, so collaborated a little bit. And then the PLC had some work time, and they brought some units of study, and then they also talked about how to incorporate indigenous tools and culture into those performing lessons or performances, how to get them in the music and the art, the visual arts. So that was great to have the guests there. And then also we had the Jeffers Center came in and did one more 3-hour session with our science teachers about the new science standards. And teachers were outside. It was a cold day too. I think it was 0. The real feel was about -5 outside, so they weren't super pumped up about going outside, but they did. Like, the new science standards are all about phenomenon-based learning. You cannot throw in a video and a worksheet. Like, you have to experience, the kids have to lead it in order to actually really understand that science learning. And those new science standards, the new MCA 4 is going to be coming out here in a couple years. So the foundations are being set as we speak, so that hopefully our 5th graders, who are the first grade that take that test, can really show what they know on that. And so, yeah, I need to hand it to the teachers. They were digging in. They were outside, -5, real feel, looking at phenomenon, just working on the senses. Like, how do you guide kids through using your senses to observe and record and predict? And so it's really good science. So I appreciate their learning that day. Coming up at North, it's busy on the month of March. We have Arts and Academic Night coming up on March 7th. Great night. It's all about students and talent. We have the spelling bee going on. And the gym is packed for that. So come early. We also have performances in the music room, art on display, science fair, interest fair display. So it's all kid driven. So they're out there showing what they know and what they got. And so I look forward to that every year. All the coordination that goes into that, it's a big deal. And parents are there because their kids are there. They're performing. So the parents are packing the building as well. Kindness Retreat is coming up actually next week. So 4th grade every year we go to Johnson Hall. Youth Frontiers comes in, leads that. The students from the high school come down and lead small group discussions. It's been going on for decades, and they look forward to it every year. It's perfect timing because February gets a little bit long, with the winter and stuff, and it's just a great reminder, as Liv talked about, just the kindness that needs to keep going, and we need to be reminded how to do that. And 4th graders come back with just a really positive kindness shot in the arm, if you will. So that's coming up, and we definitely want to thank Mrs. Kennedy. She helps to coordinate that with the kindness, our Youth Frontiers and the 4th grade team. And thanks to high school students for volunteering their time as well. And then March 5th, we have young writers and artists going to Bethany. So that's for 3rd and 4th grade only. I know the 2nd graders always get a little bummed, but they'll get it the next year. And we get a lot of students that go, and we're one of the few schools that offers like transportation and everything for that. Most parents have to take their kids there. So we usually get about 50 students that take part in that as well, 50 to 60. So it's busy, good stuff.
So with our new science standards, does that mean we can look forward to seeing more rocket launches and water balloon shots and
so.
egg drops?
Yeah, I hope so at the middle school and high school. Yeah, you gotta be careful not to take away some of those experiences from the middle school teachers, because they love those capstone projects, but we have to lay the foundation, right?
That's
right. That starts at the earliest
Raise the
level.
bar.
So we're working on getting that background knowledge there. And I'm just it's really fun. I'll talk about Mr. Hassing. He's kind of carrying the torch for 4th grade, because obviously elementary teachers are generalists, right? So they have to teach all the subjects. And reading and math gets a lot of attention. And sometimes science and social studies, Liv probably doesn't want to hear this, but like takes a back seat, and but it really can't. And Mr. Hassing leading the charge the last couple of years, he just comes marching in my office like, you got to come down and check out this lesson. They are working on light or phenomenon with magnets. I'm not teaching. I'm just guiding them. They're going. And it's the students leading it. And that's what I said. You can't do that with a video or a worksheet or whatever. Like it has to be experiential. And that's what's beautiful about Jeffers too. Like it's all like you get outside and it's nature. There was actually a representative that came from the state, the DNR, that wanted to observe the lesson, and she and I ended up talking about. She's the forester, educational forestry representative for the state, and so she's like, I got to show you something. So she pulled up their website, tons of resources, and she goes, tell me about this McGill Park over here. I said, well, it's ours. It's North Elementary's. We've adopted it from the city. She's like, that would be a great spot for an outdoor classroom. And she was showing all these pictures of these outdoor classrooms with full grants available out there that are really easy to get. So now we're taking a look at that. I'm going to have to meet with Pete Moulton from the city and see how we can work with them to potentially get like an outdoor classroom space out there for North.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
I just have one more thing to add, because Mr. Graff is not here, but he is no longer Mr. Graff, he is now
Right.
Dr. Graff. He defended this
Dissertation today.
dissertation
Oh.
today, and he passed. So
Yeah.
we will now have a doctor around the table.
So and he really doesn't want to be called Dr. Graff, so we are for sure going to
Going to call him that every chance we get. It's a big accomplishment.
So we are for sure. You're in that. Yeah, congratulations.
Yes,
Sid.
a big
That's awesome.
congratulations to him.
No, Annette? She did not. She's
She didn't.
here because, she's not here because she is, just want that duly noted, because she would do that for me. But she is busy helping to prepare for tomorrow, and the last I saw her, my advice was, you will not want to continue cooking with that wool sweater on, because she was helping to make some of the food for tomorrow, and she was still had her wool sweater on from school. So we'll see how she looks in the morning.
With friends like that.
Yes. They're gonna miss me, aren't they?
What are we gonna do without Principal Oki next year?
Maybe she'll come just for this.
She's
I'm
good.
going to
She's
still
good.
come, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This, as part of tomorrow's Black People's Joy Day event, there are several food samples through the day. And Mrs. Engeldinger has been with our Somali moms and daughters working on chopping vegetables for sambusas since 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah.
And when I talked to her, I don't know, it was probably around 6 o'clock that I talked to her, and they were stuffing hundreds of sambusas, and they're returning to school at 4 in the morning to begin cooking them. So she's gonna have a long day tomorrow. But it's
Well,
going to be a
yeah.
wonderful activity, and sadly we can't open it to the public. We have had some requests for people who'd like to come. We have some guests coming from those who have donated funding to the program to be part of it. We do have many community members presenting, and the school board is, of course, invited for the day as well. So that's going on tomorrow. I do want to recognize Doreen's retirement, but we are not going to totally celebrate her yet because you're not done. You do have a few more months to go. So I just wanted to make that clear. Did anyone see Doreen today? But I also want to recognize Sarah. This will be her last board meeting with us, and for those who don't know, Sarah is always quietly in the background doing all of the process and all of the paperwork and the board book and the videos and the treats on the table and all of the emails and managing all of the details of everything we do as a school board, and me as a superintendent, my schedule, I would certainly not know what to do without Sarah, but I'm going to have to figure it out. So we will miss Sarah. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for the past 5 years for the district, getting us through a transition to a new superintendent and board members and referendums and COVID and so many other things. So thank you for your service. We'll miss you. And I do have your phone number, so please don't change that. 'Cause I might have to call you.
She's making a note.
Change number. I know where you live. All right, and then I just wanted to give an update on the referendum. We continue to monitor the website. There have been hundreds of, what do you call them? Visits, hits, yeah. Visits to each of the pages. We continue to make a push on social media, different pages of the website, and have received a handful of questions that we've been able to answer. I did have a session scheduled at the community center, which was, I realized, scheduled for the kind of the middle of the day after the lunch here at the community center, purposefully scheduling one for people who would be available. But there must not have been too many questions because I was alone. We do have another event coming up on March 6th. We will be holding an open house at the middle school. We'll have poster boards with the different aspects of the project that are going to happen. We'll have handouts with more information, and we will have staff on hand to give tours of the spaces that we're hoping to address with the referendum. So March 6th, and there'll be more information and advertisements coming out about that event. This Saturday we have Saints Cafe scheduled for the month. It's on a Saturday this time. We'll be at McDonald's bright and early. Kate will be there, Ken will be there, and if people have questions about the referendum, that would be another great time to come and chat with us about the district or anything about the district, really. Now, one last word, and it's about the weather. It's been lovely, in my estimation. Some people haven't been so fond of it. But many have asked about our traditional snow day. Yeah. And I know that there are even wagers made on what date they are going to fall on. And I understand that all of those dates have come and gone already for when that first snow day will be. And so there is a rumor going around that the first day that it's 70 degrees that I'm planning and calling a snow day. And I just want to say right now, that's a rumor. There has been no such agreement. So we have no current plans to do that. But if we did consider it, we would make sure everyone had plenty of notice of such a snow day.
No snow day.
No snow day. So anyway, that's where I'll end this train wreck.
We will go here around the table. So, Ken.
Nothing real significant to add other than it's just fun to be part of the group and hearing all the exciting things that are happening, the principals and reports that Megan puts together and all the good things. Since this is going to be Sarah's last meeting, except when she comes back to join us on a monthly basis because she's lonely, just wanted to acknowledge her as a new board member. Thanks for all the help. I've been on the phone with you a number of times and greatly appreciate that, and best wishes.
That's all I was going to say too, is I'll miss you, Sarah. I don't really have anything else to say today.
Very good.
I can't. Liv is just the example of what I would like to say. I have been absolutely, what is the word, gobsmacked? Overwhelmed by the quality of the student activities that have been going on in this district. I mean, these kids are just on all levels amazing. And there's no one group you can even start with or end with, but congratulations to all of us old folks for having all these wonderful young folks around us all the time. That's it.
Thank you for all the reports from all of you. And one thing that really caught my heart was the vouchers for the book fair. I really appreciate that. I was one of the kids who couldn't afford to buy a book, and I loved book fairs, loved to read. So that really, I appreciate that for our students. And then a thank you to Sarah again for everything she does. And it's not fair, I come on the board and you're leaving, but but thank you for everything that you've done. And just a little tidbit, did you know that NASA started in 1958 when our middle
Building.
school, yeah,
Oh, wow.
just a frame of reference for everybody. This is why we need
Yeah.
things, but yes.
There's some
But NASA's-
perspective.
Yeah, I looked up what happened in 1958. NASA started.
Good point. I might use that.
Yeah.
Mr. Gronseth already did this, but I just wanted to give a plug for mendthemiddle.org, a lovely website with all of the information about this referendum. Plenty of details, very interactive. It's easy to find the answers to your questions. It's just so well done, and I think super informative. So if you have a moment, mendthemiddle.org, or you can get there through our website and get your questions answered. And lastly, yes, Sarah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. All right. Our upcoming meetings, let's talk about them. We have a study session coming up March 4th in the Media Center at the middle school at 6:30. An HR committee meeting March 8th, which is Friday at 4 p.m. in the middle school conference room. A business committee meeting Wednesday, March 13th, 10 a.m. in the district office. Policy committee Wednesday, March 13th, 4 p.m. in the district office. Education committee Thursday, March 14th, 1 p.m. in the district office. And then our next scheduled regular board meeting for Monday, March 18th, 6:30, right here in the governor's room of the community center.
If I could,
Please.
we will be adding an additional meeting in there somewhere. We'll have to have a special board meeting to approve the list of election judges. So we will be working to schedule that. I don't know if we will, I was hoping that we'd be able to turn the study session into a special meeting. I don't know if we'll have those names ready by then. So if you know election judges.
I was gonna say, do you need election judges?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do. So please, if you know election judges, we did send out notice to all of them and are getting responses back, but we could still use quite a few election judges. So,
Is that something you have to be trained for already?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. And with that, I'll accept our final motion. Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn. Very good.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And approved. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.